Welcome to The Mix, a fusion dance podcast where we dive into the world of blending dances and all that comes with it. We're talking about everything from the highs of nailing that perfect combo to the lows, emotional, and mental challenges and more. And if you're new to the dance scene, don't worry, we've got you covered with practical tips to help get you started, feel comfortable, and most importantly, have fun. So come on in. We can't wait to dance with you. Dude, welcome back.
Ooh, we here back in LA. Back in
If people
LA.
don't know, you just came back from how to describe it? I guess it's like a dance convention in
Mm-hmm.
Seattle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was it called?
It's a dance exchange known as High-Fi all or High-Fidelity Fusion. And it was whew, I don't have the words to describe what this was. Um to kind of give you an idea, right? Like imagine an entire weekend of like classes and workshops and just like so many dancers. I mean, it was like I think they had this year they had about over 600 dancers there and just
That's a
from
lot of
everywhere.
bodies.
It's a lot of body. Look, it's a lot of bodies, it's a lot of humans there. Okay, it's a lot of humans. But we had so many people, folks from LA, folks from Phoenix, folks from Utah, from Seattle, from Oregon. I mean, you have folks from New York, from Jersey, folks from Philly, folks from State College. It was like everywhere outside of the US, in the US, under the US, above, maybe through the US. I don't really know for sure. We have folks from the Midwest there. Okay, folks from the West. It was just yeah. Mm.
Okay, so we go to fusion events or socials, right, in LA. So that's probably more like 40 to 80 people. And that's just a social. There's no classes, right? So how would you say are these like was this event more I guess dance conventions or weekends, is it more intense? Are you like in the zone more? Do you feel
Oh
like in a
yeah.
different bubble?
Oh yeah.
What's the vibe like?
I feel like for me, because I've gone to some where I've like, oh, I want to do the workshops and the classes and all that kind of stuff. And I went to one in New York earlier this year that was like they had the classes, they had the workshops. We did those different things, kind of hanging out with people and stuff. And this time, myself and another friend of mine were like, "I'm just here to dance. That's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. I want to make friends. I want to talk to nobody. I just want to dance, right? Just the socials." And I feel like because of that focus, this was also, mind you, my first time in Seattle. So I got to kind of like explore the city, see the needle. I was like walking around a lot. And then when I was ready, I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna come back, kind of just like get into my zone. And from like 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning, I'm there. I'm just like, dude, I'm here to dance. That's it. That's all I'm doing. So I feel like you get to a point to where it's like that. I think that like that flow state you kind of reach when you get to like hour two or hour three. It's like that, but amplified because like you're going as long as you want to go. So I feel like I'd get to like the first, like that first little flow, and I'm like, this is great. And then it would just deepen and it would deepen and it would deepen. I feel like there was a level that I was able to get to where inspiration and action were like the same. Where you know how sometimes you have like these ideas or these things, you're like, oh, I want to try this out, or I want to try this move, or what if I did this way instead of that way? It felt like for me, like I was able to get to a point to where I'd have a thought, I have something, I was like, "Ooh, that'd be really cool to try," and I could do it in real time, and it would work. And even if it didn't work, it was like, "Oh no, I can take this, I can fix it, and I can try it again." And it felt like it was like just it was like lightning in a bottle, but the bottle is me, you know. Oh, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. So many
I'm
good
actually,
dances.
oh, did you record any of them?
I did not. I
So
did not.
sad.
Yeah,
I know it,
yeah.
you know what? It's hard when because I want to record all the dances I dance just in case you want
Hmm.
to look back and see what you've done well. But then there's moments where you're like, that was, and I don't describe this to people that don't dance, but after you dance together, really good dance, you like both agree it was a great dance. You just look at each other and be like, that was a good dance. The biggest regret I have sometimes is just not recording. Grabbing someone, being like, hey, random person staying on the sideline, can you please record this just in case it's good and I can look back? Um, Big regret, yeah. I actually had one this past week where I was dancing, um, uh, just a few days ago, where I was,
Hmm.
West Coast Swing, and there was you know how normally we like upbeat, fast songs that can show, I guess, our athleticism or test it, let's just put it that way.
Those like, oh, I'm about to sweat songs. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But there was one that was a very it was a beautiful dance. It was a gentle song, but still had like some rise and falls and everything like that. And I regret it was we thanked each other afterwards, and I just regret not taking a video of it. Anywho, do you feel like you're danced out after spending a whole weekend?
Absolutely not. I don't know. Here's the thing. I know if I went again, like if someone was like, "Hey, do you want to have another weekend like of the same thing?" I know emotionally I'd be like, "Yeah, let's go." But I know physically I need to take time to actually like recover because like that's super intensive. I mean, you're going from 9 to 6 doing a very physically like taxing thing back to back to back. It's not it's not sustainable, but I could do I'm like I feel like I could do another one. Like I feel like right now I'm like, yeah, no, I want to dance more. And I've been intentional to do like, really restorative things, walking and exercising and meditating and all that, like giving myself that downtime and that physical time to be like, a little bit slower. Oh, but I want to do more. I definitely want to. I'm like, I don't feel danced out at all. If anything, I feel like it's reinvigorating my love for dance. I feel like it's like, oh yeah, this is the thing that I love. This is that thing that I'm like, yeah, I just want to take a bite out of, you know.
Yeah.
Ugh.
What would you say is how do people dance there? Obviously, it's like a melting pot of so many different dancers,
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure, for sure.
So do you feel like you felt more comfortable dancing with people from LA because you knew how to
Mhm.
lead them in their style, or do you think you actually like dancing with people outside of LA because it kind of pushed your not boundaries, but like your limits on seeing what can happen on the dance
Mhm.
floor?
Yeah, no, you know what? There's
Or did you have, like, a
there's
preference? Like, are you like, "Oh,
mhm.
I appreciate my LA peeps. I didn't know
Yeah.
y'all were really good."
Yeah. You know what? I think it did a lot of things. One of them, it definitely made me appreciate the LA people because I feel like I'm like, man, there's so many good people in LA, and I feel like you can kind of get it's kind of like you forget that LA is not the norm outside of LA because you can be here so long and you have so many different styles and different things to choose from. I mean, not even just like, dance wise, but like food wise. You have all of these different foods. You're like, "Oh, there's so many choices," that you forget. That's not how it is everywhere else. So I feel like it made me, 1, appreciate LA folks a lot more, um, and then 2, I wanted to be intentional about dancing with people who, like, I normally wouldn't get access to, people who are from different places. I'm like, "Okay, I don't want to, like, dance with the people that I know." I mean, don't get me wrong, because I still dance with some LA folks, and I feel like we had better dances than we did at home. At least I did. I don't know. They might tell you a different story, but I felt like I was like, oh, it felt like we were like at a different level. But I wanted to be intentional to say like, oh, I don't normally get access to people who are like, from this place and that place and whatever. So I want to like make the most of it. And I feel like I definitely got to dance with people who like just grew my lexicon, I feel like I was able to just kind of like hear different ideas and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't think to try this thing out." Or even just like some of the small in between moments where, you see someone respond a little differently to something that maybe you've done 1,000 times. It was just like, "Oh, shoot." I'm like, "This is what growth is. This is cool." You know?
Yeah.
Um, oh my goodness. Yeah, but I definitely got love for my LA folks. Definitely got love for my LA folks.
Do you feel like there's a different way that, let's say, Seattle people move versus
Mm,
maybe not East Coast, but I'm assuming a lot of people that were there were from Seattle, versus
yeah,
how
yeah.
LA people move in terms of style.
Yeah, you know what? I think the big difference that I've noticed, that I'd say is that with LA folks, it feels like LA folks are like everyone is kind of their own brand, or everyone is kind of like they're making their own style. Not to say that other places don't do the same, like there aren't individuals in other locations, right? But it feels like LA folks are intentional about trying to develop their own way of like expressing. So I feel like you get more of a consistent result with the individuals in LA versus I think with like kind of like with Seattle and with like other some of the other places, especially Seattle. I feel like they were a lot more fluid, a lot more like consistently kind of bringing like a all right, I got to go back to Avatar: Last Airbender. It felt like it was more like more water benders, and it was like, oh, okay, like this that felt like that was kind of the regional flavor, like the regional style. Oh, also shout out to like Phoenix, like folks from like Phoenix. I don't know what they got going on down there, but like I feel like I need to just go on tour because I feel like there were so many different pockets of places where I'd have people who were like from one place. I'm like, yo, whatever y'all are doing over there is like something special. Like, yeah, no, for sure, for sure, for sure. I just gotta travel more. I feel like I just gotta travel more. But yeah, definitely a lot of water benders, I'd say so.
Do you feel like you prefer like fluid movement,
Mm,
hard movements, or do you feel like you have better dance chemistry though with, let's say, earth people that move more earth-like versus fire versus
yeah.
air?
Yeah, I feel like I have more natural dance chemistry with people who are fire, who like kind of lean in that. And I feel like that's dangerous because I feel like I'm just like, let's keep going up. You know what I mean? And it's like maybe bigger isn't always better, and it's definitely not sustainable because like I don't know if you've danced to like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, but trying to dance like that at 3 or 4 is like, whew. I'm like, I'm dehydrated. I'm seeing colors. I'm tasting sounds, but I'm still like, hey, let's go, energy, right? And sometimes you need to have people who are like a little bit more grounded and a little bit more calm to kind of like offset that. But I definitely liked the challenge of dancing with people who were just so different and kind of like finding that middle point where we could connect and where we could like find alignment. And I definitely feel like the first 2 days were more of adjusting period versus the last day where I felt like I was just fully in it and fully like, fully immersed. It was like the last day, it felt like it didn't matter whether they were water or fire or earth or it was like it doesn't matter. It's gonna work. And it just felt like it just clicked. Everything just clicked. It was like we're here. Amazing dances the entire day. Just yeah, absolute top to bottom. Ah, so good.
When you dance with like so many people or so many
Mhm.
followers, do you feel like how can you tell that someone's a good follower if you're staying
Mm,
on the sidelines and you're kind of watching it
yeah.
and being like,
Yeah.
you look, I think I want to dance with you.
Yeah. Okay. So you know what? There's a couple of people who came to mind like instantly, and for the most part, there's so many people there, right? Like it's just so many. You're like, oh, I'm gonna dance with everybody,
Do you actually get
and
a chance to dance with everyone, or you don't actually get to, let's say, like,
oh, absolutely not. No,
oh,
you
okay.
you will not. I don't think it's mathematically possible to have dance with every single person. I don't know if it could be. I'm not good at math. You know what I'm saying? I do words. I don't do numbers. But like you can try, and I think you should try. I think you should be super intentional to like try to dance with people that like again that you people who are much better than you that you're like, oh, they are up there. People who you're like excited to dance with, people you're not excited to dance with, meaning like you're like, oh, maybe their styles are just so totally different or like or whatever. But like I'd still say go because you might be surprised by how you learn something or like something you pick up. Um I I felt like there were a couple people that I saw, and for the most part, I felt like my instinct was right. Like I'd see I'd see them kind of dancing to songs, and whether they knew the song or not, it was like you could kind of see when someone is like just kind of going through the motions or going through moves, and you can see when someone is actively like interacting or like creating with the song for me, when I'd see people who were doing that, who were like creating with the song, or they were trying to emphasize this part, or they were like, playing with, I was like, okay, yeah, it's gonna work. And there's like one person in particular who I had like just it was to the song Taki Taki, right? And if you're listening, you know who you are. If you don't worry about it, right? But it was my favorite dance to that song ever. I've danced to that song a bunch, right? But this is someone who I had danced with on probably on that Friday. And I kind of was like, okay, like I know, even though this song isn't like amazing, that the stuff that you're kind of listening to and kind of pulling from the song, I know we're gonna have a great connection. So like, I didn't see her. I don't think I saw her Saturday, because again, it's 600 people, two rooms, right? It's just it's hard. It's gonna be hard to kind of find those people. But it was like, hey, let's find each other later. Sunday was later, and they were playing like there was like a Latin music set. Oh, and it was my favorite set. There were a lot of great DJs, a lot of great moments, so many amazing songs. But this set was just it was perfect, and they played the song, they played Taki Taki, and it was like instant. Like we saw each other, and it was just like, yeah, this is happening right now. And it was just like it was so good. It had everything. Like it was just it had the rises and the falls. There was lyrical. There was these kind of like rhythmic motions, these groovy moments. There were these you know, big moments, the big lifts, the calms, the music, all so much musicality. Ah, and I think the big thing that it did for me is that it was like we were able to play with the song itself. It felt like it was part of the song, you know? Like it felt like it wasn't us just like going back and forth with moves that we knew. It was like we were going along with the actual song itself. It just yeah, it was just it was so good. It was so good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was yeah.
when you were telling me like it sounded like you said like musicality and like being able to I guess you say like dissect the songs or play along with it. You prefer that let's say a dancer that can do that versus someone that just does lifts. If that makes sense. Or I guess just the I don't say the athletic feats, but you know, which I found interesting because some people might see and be like, oh, that person's a great dancer because they can just fly in the sky.
Yeah, I mean, I think athletic ability is dope, and if you have it, like use it. But I'm of the thought and of the perspective that athletic ability without context is just it's just stunt work. It's cool. It's cool if you can do it, right? But like if it's not on beat, if it's not linked up to the song, if it doesn't have any meaning, then it loses its value, you know?
Do you feel
Like
like it's more like you have the technique probably
mhm.
and training maybe for that or that aspect, but you still are missing the creative aspect?
Yeah, I think there's an intentionality to the music that you need to have when you're doing any kind of anything, but especially when you're doing like big moves because you do a big move at the right time and it can just light a place up. It can make the dance like just that more meaningful, you know. Especially there's a part of the song where the song talks about, you know, splitting or like or something to that effect, right? Or like I love the moments where a song adds a word like you know like walking away, right? And then you literally turn around and walk away. You time it with that. It just like it just works. Like or you disconnect, right? Like
Yeah.
you disconnect with your partner. To me, I'm like yes, right? But if you just do it at the beginning of the song, you do a backflip at the beginning. It's cool, I guess, but it's like, what does this mean? You know what I mean? Like what is how does this fit? It's almost like listening to a rapper, right? You listen to a song and you know they use this like really cool metaphor, this really cool like, you know, wordplay and you're like, "Oh, that was clever," right? It works because of the context. It works because of the stuff that's around it. But by itself, you just say a word, like I could just say, you know, ability. That doesn't have any meaning to it. You're like, "Okay, cool. I guess." Said a
Yeah.
word. That's cool, right? So yeah, I feel like the context matters, the timing, the musicality, the like how does this fit with the rest of the dance that you're creating, you know?
Yeah. And you know, when you're talking about like that Taki Taki song and you had like that one epic dance that was so good and you just remember it and you're like, this, nothing will top this off. Um, so I was thinking about because I feel like there's maybe one or two moments where that happened to me in the past where you're like, how I feel like it's like chasing a high after a dance, right? You're like, nothing can
Ooh.
top it off. And then you try to find and do another dance, and you're like, that doesn't top it off. And you're like, it's never gonna be, it's like having a really good meal.
Mhm.
And you're like, I've never been able to find a restaurant that does the same or even better, executes it better, right? So how do you think like, how do you not be nostalgic and long over it for such a long time? Because obviously it's like chasing I guess you say it's chasing a high, but it's not, I say it's like unhealthy. It's just more like, how do you get over it?
I don't know if you do. I think you just have to live with the heartache. You have to live with the knowledge that nothing will ever top this again, and you just have to be no, no. I think for me, what I'm trying to do, right? Trying, keyword here, is I'm trying to enjoy it for what it is or for what it was and let it simmer and, enjoy the memory of it, but also try to draw out some of the lessons that I learned. And I was talking to some other friends of mine about how like I'll kind of do like an audio log where at the end of a dance, usually at the end of like the end of the night, usually on the drive back, or maybe a day or so later, I try to do like, okay, these are the things that I really enjoyed, the things that I like, the things that I can work on. These are the moves that work for me. These are some of the things that I think I want to work on in the future so that I can like, maybe have more fun or like, oh, these are some of the dancers that I dance with, or like this song, or what, like I try to just kind of keep track of those little things. And I feel like that lets me kind of jump back into the flow for the next time. Because if I'm thinking about it, like, okay, all of this stuff that happened in this moment is going to help me going forward, it keeps me from kind of getting stuck in the nothing will ever top this, you know what I mean? Which is so real. And I feel like it's very hard to not get in that because sometimes you just have these moments or these dances where like, I mean, I can't tell you every night, like every single night, my last dance was just incredible. Like I feel like I had tens, like just like 10 all across the board every single night, even when we had a fake last dance, because they were like last dance, and then they were like, oh, one more song, whatever, and then we ended up getting like a whole 15 minutes more. My first last dance was incredible, but then my second last dance was even. It was just it didn't make sense. And I'm like, dude, this is
I think psychologically, it's like
crazy.
it's gonna be a really like we got to make the
Hmm.
most of it because it's
Hmm.
the last dance. So, and then your brain just focuses better, and your body's just
Yes.
like, all right, let's go.
Yes. Oh, it felt like I was already in a flow. Like I was already there in the zone, and it just felt like I got deeper into the zone. It was like just it was completely immersive. It was totally in the moment, totally one with the music, one with my partner. It was just like everything was just like perfectly synced. And at the end we were just like what is that? You know what I mean? Like it was just like it was absolutely amazing. It was amazing. So
People don't realize that socials, at least the ones you and I go to, it's like
mhm,
9:30, and then goes until maybe like 1 a.m. So
mhm,
for these, I don't know, we call them like conventions.
mhm.
When did it end? Like, when did it start? When did it end? Because I don't think people realize that
Yeah,
it
yeah.
helps be a night owl for these things.
Oh,
You
I
and I
see.
are.
I am. Oh, yes. I'm on my Batman hours regularly. What? Yes, I am. I am. I feel like I get better the later it goes.
Same.
And
I
I
feel
don't
like from
know.
9 to like
Mhm.
11, I'm warming up.
Yeah.
When some people are yawning and tired, I'm like,
Hmm.
let's go. I have energy. And then
Yeah.
play the fast music now. And then
Yeah.
usually
I'm just like,
they start playing slow music. I'm like, no.
it's like a super slow like blues song. I'm just like, let's go. Let's go. Like I do not want to slow down. No, absolutely not.
Same.
Absolutely not.
It's like we're starting to finally wake up at that time.
That part. I feel like I definitely feel like 11 o'clock is like really my peak time. Like I've noticed consistently that's the time where what doesn't matter how early a dance starts or how late, 11 just seems to be a time where like it just clicks. Like I get locked in and stuff just works. But what I also notice is that I kind of have a second peak around kind of like 1:30, I think, about like 1:30. And like, I mean, we stayed up to, I think we danced the first night to 4:30, the second night to about, I want to say 5. So Saturday was to probably to about 5. And then
How do
It's a
people
Sunday.
survive when they like
That's a great question.
as you sip your drink? No, because it's like if you dance till 5 a.m. and then a few hours you go to sleep and wake up for workshops and everything.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't. So I know some people didn't stay up for like the for the late nights. Like some people did not do the kind of like the survivors sessions.
Full evening, yeah.
And for me, I was like, no, I want to do this. So I didn't do any of the workshops. Um and I wanted to, don't get me wrong, I definitely did, but I wanted to make the decision to say, no, I'm focusing on the dancing. This is going to be about the dancing and nothing but.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to like my first dance convention. I just heard through, and what I love about the dance, and we talked about this before, our dance community is you just hear a lot of things word of mouth. Or you can go to this event, that kind of stuff. And I just found out about it. It's like the West Coast Swing Halloween swing thingy in like 1 to 2 weeks. Um, but I'm not because I feel like I'm still kind of not new, but I'm kind of still dipping my feet in the water in this world that I'm going to only do the social dances till I don't know whatever time 4 or 5 a.m. that they start, but it starts at midnight. So I was like shocked, but at the same time I'm like, yeah, it's during peak hours, right? But and I think in the future, I'll probably be like, okay, let me try out the workshops because my a dance friend I made is gonna go to it. And it's kind of like warming up to like the whole environment. Okay. So, and we'll just have to I'll have to update you on how it goes, I guess, on this podcast, my like first
Yeah, that's
impressions and everything.
exciting.
I
No,
know.
that's super
Oh,
exciting.
yeah. And also like, do you feel like how was the event from like an events perspective, right?
Mm,
Did you feel like it was pretty well organized? Did you feel as an attendee that just from an attendee's point of view, right? Like
mhm.
what were your thoughts?
I'll say a couple things. I'll say a bunch of good things and then maybe some things that
Mm.
can be improved on, right? But I think that it was very well organized. I can't speak for like the workshops and the classes. 'Cause I wasn't there for those, but my friends who did take the workshops and classes and things like that, they enjoyed them. They definitely had a lot of good things to say. I think one of the big compliments is that one of my friends, he's like super, super, super good. Like he's in it for a long time, community leader, does a lot of stuff, puts on events himself. And he was like, this kicked my butt. Like I felt like I had not been challenged like this in so long. And I loved it. I loved every moment of it. I felt like it was like it actually made me better. And I think that was like that's high praise coming from someone who they've seen a lot. Um, I also think it was very well organized, especially the because I was there and I also kind of like traded work hours, so that I'd have like a reduced pay, and I was like, oh, I wanted to do that because I wanted to help. And I was like, I'm already going to do this anyway. Why not do something? Why not, have some benefit to something I was already going to be doing? So I felt like that was super well organized in terms of I knew what I needed to do, where I needed to go, who I needed to talk to. The communication was clear. Like it felt like they did a really good job of making sure all of the essentials were covered. So like you knew where to go, you knew what the expectations were, you knew what to wear, what you needed to have for this, what the theme was. Like they really did a great job. I mean, we had Excel spreadsheets and all this. It was really well done. From like I'm interested, but I'm not really sure, all the way to like okay, I'm definitely going. What do I need to know? I felt like everything was just like you could find it, you know. Um, I also think it was very well. It was like very intentional to make sure people were going to be covered in terms of like we had COVID tests every day before we got there. They provided us with those COVID tests as well. Just making sure people are safe, people are okay. Um, there were things that they were like, hey, like don't bring snacks, don't bring things that have like these allergens because you're at an event where a lot of people are going to be touching, passing hand. You know what I mean? And so if someone has an allergy or
Good
something,
point.
it was like we gotta make sure we take care of that. Sanitizer was available. There was a lot of things that they did that just said, okay, we care about the people here, and then that really impressed me because I feel like sometimes you go to places and they're like, show up and dance and have fun, but like that's it. Like we're just here to make sure that you're able to dance and that's it. And it felt like they were like, no, we want to make sure that the person is also okay.
Yeah, that's nice.
Now,
Oh,
now for
okay.
maybe for the not so nice, right? This is the part.
Event
This is the part.
organizers, listen in, listen
All
in.
right, this is super important,
There's always ways
organizers.
to
Now,
grow. There's always ways to grow. There's always something to grow from.
for sure. And for this particular event, and I don't know if there's anyone who could have a disagree. If you were there, you know. Now, I am all for making sure people feel comfortable and safe in themselves. I am also one who just so happens to have a functioning nose. And here's the thing, when you bring 600 bodies in one space to sweat, there will be stank. Look, it's it is an immutable law of the universe. I understand this. I know this. We know this. And some of us are a little more sensitive than others. Some of us might have different issues, conditions, things. I understand, but here's the thing. When you tell people to avoid synthetic or like heavy fragrances, what you should not leave out is the need to bring some kind of anti-funkification. I mean, Arm and Hammer exists and they have unscented. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if Old Spice does, but I know there are some good unscented brands of deodorant that exist. And I'm sorry if you think and you've been misled that your essential oils and baking soda is going to do the job. It did not. It did not. Listen, the kind of smell, I could not go downstairs the first night. It was like a farm show explosion. And it was all kind of smells and scents. I'm like, look, I can't do it. I wanted to because the music sounded so good. I was like, yo, this is fire. But the smell told me, stay upstairs, bro. Stay upstairs. I had to. I didn't have a choice. I did not have a choice because it was not aerated enough for that. I was like, look, I can't do it. I can't. Listen, I tried. The oxygen left my body. I got down there. I said, nope. I was holding my breath the whole time. I tried to inhale. My nose said, hey, bro, don't do that. Don't do that. They would my have you ever been held hostage by your own nostrils? Because if you haven't, I guarantee you that'd have been an experience that had changed your life. And that was my one thing. It was like, look, if you're gonna make that kind of rule, you gotta enforce it the same way that you enforce the COVID thing. Have people check. All right, they do their test real quick, they pass the test. All right, here, stand over here. Boom. We do a little rub, right? Little something. You gotta have something. You gotta have some kind of protection because like it wasn't safe. It wasn't safe. That first night rough. Was rough. Now, night two was a little better. They brought some fans down there. Night three was a lot better. There was some more ventilation and everything. But yeah, no, that first night, whoo, child, wasn't working. Was not working. That was my biggest thing, my biggest criticism. It was that. That was the thing. It's like, hey, look, come on now. We gotta change that. We can't let that can't be the first impression. You know what I'm saying? That can't be the first impression.
I
Ooh.
am dying. Wait, it was like a farm exploded.
It was bad. And I'm saying this as someone who grew up in like Pennsylvania. Like in Harrisburg, PA, every year in January, there's something called the PA Annual Farm Show. All right. They have a farm show complex. I know what I'm talking about. I know the smell. I said, my back home, it was bad. I was like, this is not safe. This isn't okay. This is telling me danger. So, yeah. Like, have you ever been nostalgic for the farm? Like, because at least you can justify. You're like, okay, there are animals here. All right, let me stop. Let me stop. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. No, I'm not. I won't apologize. The facts is the facts. Folks was stank. Okay, folks was stanking. But we had a good time. But still, come on, come on. We tree bark is not enough, my friend. Like my brothers and sisters in Christ, that ain't it. All right, you got to do more than just the essence of some sage. You got look, get some aluminum in there. I'm sorry, just a little bit of a little bit. All right. Anyways,
Yeah, listen to our old episode. What is it called? Episode 3, where we talk about BOs and our qualms on it, and
Yeah.
also breath. Did you have breath? Were you okay breath-wise? Or did people eat gum?
Breath wise wasn't actually too bad, and that was something I'm thankful for. Breath wise, we were for the most part we were okay. And I had gum with me, I had mints with me. I always bring a pack of Altoids, you know, or something, some kind of gum, some kind of something, because I'm like I cannot be out here with dry mouth. I can't be out here. It's 1:30 in the morning. I'm already this close to catching a cramp. I can't catch a cramp and have dry mouth. It's got to be one or the other. You know what I'm saying?
Um, throughout the night, well, okay, since I'm going to, for people like me or anyone else listening in, going to their first dance convention, well, let's say like dancing throughout the night from like 9 to 5 or maybe 12 to 5 a.m. What do you recommend, or what are things that new people should know about when they go to like these like dance conventions, or like resources, tips on managing their time or expectations?
Ooh.
Tell me everything before I go
No,
home.
that's a great question. That's a great. Okay, so you can do so much more for yourself by planning ahead. And what I mean by planning ahead is I always have a dance bag in it. I keep a couple things, right? I keep extra deodorant. I keep like some kind of gum or mints or something like that. I think that if you also are like, hey, I'm gonna sweat, I know I'm gonna sweat, bring an extra shirt, maybe two, especially because like the ride home, you may not want to be like, covered in all of that, but also because like halfway during the dance, you might say, "Oh, I am covered in so much sweat. I need to check. Like I just need to." It makes you feel better. It makes you feel refreshed. It makes you feel like, "Oh, I can come back for round two." I'd also make sure you have your water bottle and then bring like some kind of like the I like the prime packs, the little like the packs of the prime energy or whatever. And like, I mean, you need some kind of like electrolytes. Like, bring that with you because, like,
That helps.
look, I'm telling, ooh, catching cramps is not cute. It's not. You're like, oh, I'm going so hard, my calves ain't working. No, it's a problem. Because you look, it's not it's not the flex you think it is. It's really not. Like, it's really not. You want to be able to go the entire time. Do that. Um, I do a little bit of caffeine. Like I'll have like some kind of like mints or caffeine gum or something like that with me. But like whatever you need to stay level, bring that. I would treat it kind of like an extended workout because I mean it is. So like you want to make sure you're eating well beforehand, eat a good meal, get your proteins in, some good carbs, some like rice is always good. Like sushi I think is a good meal beforehand because you're getting your protein, you're getting your rice, your carbs and all that stuff, your starchy carbs. And what else? What else? What else? Oh, folks don't tell you this. Extra socks.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a
good
game
point.
changer. That's a game changer because we don't always think about it, but you're on your feet the whole time, and like your feet will get sweaty. Like that will happen, and we don't always think about it. But I was like, oh, there was a point I remember during the night. I was like, boom, I changed the socks. I was like, yo, I feel like a new man. I feel like I'm ready. I'm ready for round five. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
You know. Um, so those are some of the things you can do to kind of prepare, that you can like bring with you. And then there's also just make sure your phone is charged. Make sure you have some friends nearby. It's always good to have people that you're there with and kind of know where you can check in with them for different reasons, whether it's, hey, I'm tired, I'm kind of want to rest, or hey, can you watch my stuff? Or hey, can you watch me and get a video real quick? Because like you're so in the zone sometimes you forget to like capture some of those moments.
Yeah.
And I would also say just like give yourself designated time to like rest, even if it's a quick 10 minutes. Like take that time because it's a marathon. It is not a sprint, and you will exhaust yourself if you just go straight through it. Like take some time to breathe a little bit, watch other dancers, like learn while you're there. Like I remember there was a point where because they had this balcony area where you could kind of go upstairs and you could look down and see like the entire floor. And I was like, man, the first night I did not. I took no breaks. I just went the whole time. And then the second night, I was like, I'm actually just gonna like watch a little bit. I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm gonna look down. I'm gonna watch. I felt like I had more fun because I took those breaks and because I was watching where I felt like I could appreciate the room, I could appreciate the music, I could appreciate that. I felt like it made me more present, you know.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I would say. It's like it's underrated. Like take some time to actually just watch, like see what other people are doing, see how the room is grooving, like enjoy the whole experience, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm similar to you where like the first night I would be like, "Oh, I gotta dance and try like try dancing and see how everyone is," you know, and the second
Yeah.
night would be like, "All right, well, I'm gonna see the ones that I had a good dance chemistry with and try to find them and dance with them." So, yeah, and it's again mathematically impossible to dance with every single person unless yeah, no, it is. So, um yeah, but if you guys have any questions for me or Kaylin regarding, or I guess his experience, let us know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it with a friend and follow us and give a 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify. And check us out on social media at Fusion Dance Podcast. You can contact us at fusiondancepodcast@gmail.com. And also, you have resources all in the show notes and down below. So thanks for being here with us, and we'll see you next time.